All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give our praise and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well and teaching us the truth, 100% securely. And I'd like to give a salutation to the Akim and Akwak who are listening and studying to start ourselves approved. All right, so this is just another quick lesson, you know, based on inspiration that my Octave astrologist put out on this lesson. And the title of this, it says, we are going to stick to the script. All right. And that's, sticking to the script is basically the Holy Scripture, the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Okay. And within this lesson, my Oct just basically put it out there. It's just like, hey man, if you're not into this, if you're not at least putting out 3 lessons, you know, then you're not locked in. You need to self-examine yourself, right? And, quick testimony, and when he said that, he was actually talking to me, but in his lesson, it wasn't like he was directly talking to me because, you actually listen to the lesson, he was going into, testimony, the things that he was dealing with on the job and so on and so forth. But through the spirit, he was still talking to me, and but a little while ago, I wouldn't say about a couple of months ago or whatever, I wasn't putting out lessons, and then I called me, like, man, it seems like you've been locked in, man, what's going on? And we got to talking and we got talking about I was like scoffers or something like that, man, and it was just like I was just it was like I wasn't thinking properly in the spirit, and I was like, man, the coffers are gonna come, you got to keep pushing, man. You can't let them coffers or whatever, him in in my Akadar, and so that's what I wanted to bring out, and that's why I wanted to title this lesson, and the title would be Brotherly Love, because that's gonna be, your foundation, your base, what's gonna keep you going in the truth. You gotta talk to your brothers, you know. And even Yahweh Shai said, just loosely paraphrasing what he was told the people around him, loosely paraphrasing, he said, the same, he that doeth the will of my Father, the same as my mother, my brothers, and so on and so forth. And those are your true, spiritual brothers that you gotta rely on in order for you to stay locked in, okay? And you gotta dig within yourself with all of the chaotic things that's going on in America, aka Babylon the Great, because you got spiritual wickedness in high places, so you're gonna have demons attacking on you. They're gonna be attacking your mind. All of these things are gonna happen. Busy schedule. Okay, you trying to juggle between how to get lessons off and trying to deal with things in your personal life and all of those things like that. These are the stuff that you're gonna have to deal with on your daily walk, but you still got to put your how about your meow child first, and that's what I just wanted to bring out in this lesson, and it, I want to again call Allah Yah about your meow child for me, for him leading me to being able to have a brotherhood and being able to be out of out on the highways and hedges, with my 2 brothers, and because if it wasn't for them, if it wasn't for Yahweh Meow Child leading me, I would be lost. I would be just like the old bug out scoffers, that's coming out making videos against the Hebrew Israelites, I'll probably be a lot worse. All right. And so before I get into precept, okay, I want to play a little bit of this clip, even from the beginning, going back to the 1 minute mark real quick. All right, Lord willing, this will be edifying. Bear with me. I'm trying to get it right on the 1 minute mark. All right, let's go right there.
And I highly recommend y'all go watch it, man. Just like his page say, man, very much inspiration. So if you are supposed to be in this truth and be a prophet and you ain't kicking out no lessons, to me that lets me know that you're also not eating many lessons. Because if you're eating on lessons, it should give you inspiration to do lessons, because you can always land back off another brother if you having, problems getting a lesson cooked up in the spirit. I mean, you can always land back. easily. So if you're not doing at least 3 lessons a week, man, you are not locked in. I don't know what you're doing. You falling by the wayside, because really you should be on fire with everything that's going on right now. Like, you should never be like, oh, I don't know what to do. I ain't got no lesson in my spirit. Yeah, you having some issues. You better go examine yourself, because it's coming out heavy. And then, like I said earlier,
and there you go, right? And that's when he said you got to examine yourself, that's 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and 5. Which says examine thyself. Matter of fact, let's get it real quick, and then we'll we'll come back to it. Yeah, 2 Corinthians 13 and 5. Right, and it says 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and 5, and it says, examine yourself whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own self. Know ye not your own self how Yahweh Shah Hamashiach is in you, except you be a reprobate. All right? And when you go into that word, examine yourself, right? Well, actually, the word prove your own self, that's also the Greek word dokimazo, which means scrutinize, okay? Because that's just the same Greek word dokimazo also shows up in 1 John 4 and 1, okay? Which goes into scrutinize, examine, see whether the thing is genuine or not, okay? So, at why 1 John 4 and 1 tells you to, beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirit, which is going into the false prophet. It tells you to examine the false prophets, see what they are of Yahweh Shai. Well, in this verse, 2 Corinthians 13 and 5, you have to take that same examination and you have to scrutinize your own self, okay? What is it that I am doing that's not putting out 3 lessons a week, okay? What is it? And me and my uncle, we just had a conversation. I was just letting them know, like, here recently, I was like, man, I got notes. I be writing notes and stuff like that. And then, based on having a conversation, he was like, shit, you got it. You just got to find the time. You just got to figure out, like, 30 minutes here and there. All you need is 30 minutes. You got everything that you need. You got everything at your disposal. Basically putting everything in my own words, just summarizing the whole conversation. You just got to put out the lessons, and that's a part of having that brotherly love, having that 100% truth, and even when we have a conversation with my Akadar, man, like, hey, we like that conversation we had a little while ago, man, these scoffers, they just gonna be there, the prophecies are gonna be there, the prophecy that's the prophecy. That right there to decrease your space, because Yahweh Shah said these things are going to happen, So that's what I wanted to bring out in this lesson, man. Just having that brotherly love, being able to talk to your brothers and let them know, like, what's going on with the situation. Check in, pretty much, okay? So let's get my first precept, which is Proverbs chapter 27 and 17. Okay, and it says, iron sharpen iron, so a man sharpen the countenance of his friend. Okay, in the NLT, and it says, iron sharpen iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. Okay, and what that precept is going into is, that's why I call it brotherly love. True love is going to rebuke you, it's going to edify you, which going to mean to build up. Rebuke you when you going off, when you're not being upright in this thing of ours, in this ministry, okay? That's what it's going to boil down to. All right, that's the true brother. They're going to rebuke you. They're going to tell you where you're going wrong at. They're going to tell you how you can build up, okay? How you can get better in this ministry, okay? Ecclesiastes chapter 4. All right, in verse 9, and it says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. All right, and that's the whole point of having a ministry, okay? Having someone you can rely on. All right, so just imagine, just like the preacher said, if I was by myself, I didn't have nobody that can hold me accountable. Man, that's what it said right here. But woe unto him that is alone when he falleth, for he has not another to help him up. Okay? And call Allah Yahabashim Yahushua for that, because when I was falling, when I wasn't putting out lessons, when I was not upholding, the three lessons a week, at least minimum 3 lessons a week, okay, I had, if I didn't have that brotherhood, I would have fell off right then and there, okay? So let's read the verse. Let's read the verses again. Ecclesiastes 4:9 again from the top, and it says, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. Okay? And that's the whole point of having that brotherlyhood, that brotherly love in the ministry. You gotta have brothers around you that's gonna hold you accountable for when you're not acting right, all right? When you're not in the spirit. Okay? Even Yahweh Shah said it in the through King David, or the prophet Asaph, all right, one of the two, where he said, the Lord knoweth, that you will not, loosely paraphrasing, that you will not, he knows that you will fall, okay, loosely paraphrasing. I can't remember exactly what verse it is. I'm trying to word it right, but I'm definitely bushing it. But he knows that you're gonna fall, okay? But the point is you endure hardness as a good soldier. So like, bear with me for a minute. All right, Salakia for that. I had a phone call that's kind of threw everything off. But yeah, I was going into how about you outside know that you're gonna fall every now and then, so you gotta endure hardness as a good soldier. Okay? And that's pretty much the point. And then having a brotherly love is a ministry. They're gonna uphold you and they're gonna hold you accountable. That's always good to have people around you that's gonna hold you accountable. They're gonna tell you, when you're going off. And if you have people that's not around you, and they basically don't correct you, then you need to reconsider. Okay, going back into self-examination. All right, reconsider who your friends are and all, and so on and so forth. So this is the book of Ecclesiastica, aka Sirach, chapter 6, and verse 14. And it says, a faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that hath found such in one hath found a treasure. All right? A faithful friend, okay, is a strong defense, and he that hath found such in one hath found a treasure. Nothing doeth countervail a faithful friend, and his excellence is invaluable. A faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear the Lord, Yahweh shall find him. Okay, and that's another thing. If you don't have fear of Yahweh, you're not going to have the faithful friend. Okay, and that's another. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of that time. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Okay, and so now you're going to have that treasure of having a faithful friend when you fear Yahweh Shai. Okay, you see how these precepts are coming together. Okay, let's get 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. And verse 11. Okay, and it says, wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as also ye do. All right, wherefore comfort yourselves and edify one another. Okay, edify means to build up one another. Okay, which going into a faithful friend, that treasure that's going to build you up. They're not only going to rebuke you when you're wrong, but they're going to help build you up. Meaning they're going to help you how you can get better in your ministry, how you can, organize your time just so you can keep putting out lessons. Okay, that's the whole point of having a brotherly love. Okay, even as also ye do. And we beseech you, brethren, to know them which labor among you and are over you in the Lord, Yahweh Yahushua, and admonish you. Okay, admonish means warn you, and to esteem them from very highly in love for their work's sake, and be a peace among yourselves. Okay, and he says, now we exalt you, brother, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient towards all men. Okay, and it says, see that none render evil for evil unto any man, but ever follow that which is good, both among yourself and to all men. Okay? And so, hey, this is that comforting, and so this is the type of men that you need to have around you. Okay? This is that build up right here. This is the edifying. Okay? Rebuking. Hey man, you need to if you see a brother that might slip up and talk to a woman that got a man, you rebuke him for that. Okay, don't just let it slide and say, hey man, hey, do you, don't just do that. Hey man, do you, man, I ain't tripping, I ain't gonna say nothing. No, you let them know. Hey man, you need to let that boy go. That's trouble waiting on you. Leave her alone, something like that. That's a real brother right there. He's gonna rebuke his brother when he see him getting ready to go off and do something, treacherous. Okay, he get ready to commit a sin. All right. That's just a quick example. Hebrews 10 and 24. Let's get that. A brother that ain't doing no lessons and so on and so forth. Hey, what's going on with you, man? How you feeling? What your day is looking like? All right. The point being verse 24, but we'll start at verse 23. Okay. So Hebrews 10 and verse 23, and it says, let us hold fast the profession of our faith without wavering, for he is faithful that promised. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good work, nothing forsaking the assembly of ourselves together, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as ye see the day approaching. Okay? And verse 26, for if we sin willfully after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remain no more sacrifice for sin. And you say, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversary. Okay? And so that's the whole point of that warning when you let them know, hey man, you know better. Okay? So if you go do what you do, you commit that sin, it ain't gonna be no more sacrifice. Alright? So this is us trying to persuade our brothers, those who do the will of Yahweh Yahushua. Alright, our brothers and a few sisters, okay, that take heed to this word. Alright. Those who do the will, we're trying to persuade them to do what's right in the eyes of Yahweh Yahushua. Okay? Get a few more precepts and we'll close it down, Lord willing, to be edified, and go back to Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 6. And it says, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. All right, and that going back to what I was just saying earlier. All right, faithful are the wounds of a friend, okay, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. So meaning that if you got people around you that's not correcting you when you're wrong, then that is the very next part of this precept, is that but kisses of an enemy are deceitful. Okay, that means you got people around you that's been deceitful, and you need to reconsider. All right, first and foremost, you need to go reconsider whether you fear Yahweh Yahushua. If you have no fear of Yahweh Yahushua, then there's a reason why you have those deceitful friends around you. Okay, now read Proverbs 27 and 6 in NLT, and it says, wound from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy. All right, and just broke it down right there. All right, it says wound from a sincere friend, meaning that a sincere friend is going to tell you the truth. And, you know, in the world, they say the truth hurt, okay? But a person that's telling you the truth is truly your friend, okay? That's why it says wounds from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy, okay? And there you go. I shouldn't even have to tell no more than that. All right, so that goes all the way back to 2 Corinthians 13:5. You need to self-examine whether that person has told you right, okay? You know, when you're doing evil for evil, when you could have just let that go, and you got individuals that still had your back even when you was wrong, then you got to realize that that person didn't even rebuke you when you was wrong. You know, you got, it's a lot of, it's levels to it, okay? But, you know, Lord willing, you got the point of that, all right? And last but not least, let's get Galatians chapter 6:1, and we'll close this out. And Lord willing, this will be edifying. Galatians chapter 6:1, it says, Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such as one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. And it says, bear ye one another burden, and so fulfill the law of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. All right? And that's pretty much the point right there. All right? Bear you one another burdens, and so fulfill the law of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. When it says bear you one another's burdens, that means, you know, that brotherly love come in and he letting you know how you can, you know, become better and, you know, become a better follower of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, okay? So, you know, that's pretty much the point right there, man. Just having a brotherly love and, you know, keep pushing, all right? That's basically what it boils down to. You keep pushing, you know, keep calling on Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, get prayers from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, that he will be able to strengthen you, you know, dear harlots as a good soldier, and just keep pushing. Okay, because it's just like my Ate Yasharala said, man, it's a lot of lessons that we need to be putting out. You know, we need to be going full court press, okay? Because we almost out of here, okay? We got the victory, no matter what. All right, so Lord willing, this is edifying. With that, we give all praise and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who rule well in teaching us the truth 100% securely. Shalom, shalom, Kwam Yasharala, shalom.